We had an opportunity to listen to Tommy Hanson, had an opportunity to listen to Logan Morrison, Daniel Murphy, some of the bigger studs coming out of the Arizona Fall League, and some of the guys at the top of the class for their prospects. And let me get your thoughts as you go through and you're preparing. You're the fantasy sports guy there in New York Newsday. And, you know, right now the 2008 season's over, which means 2009 season's right around the corner. And we all know that this is the time to start preparing for your 2009 fantasy baseball season. What are you doing right now as far as looking at prospects that might be able to break into the major leagues this year? Because each and every year we know we always have the hot prospects. There's always that one guy. Last year was Evan Longoria and Giovanni Soto, both who coincidentally won AL and NL National American League Rookies of the Year. Who are you taking a look at right now that might have that ability to win the award in 2009?
Well, if you're looking at the catcher position, I think you're looking at the Orioles' Matt Wieters. Obviously a highly regarded prospect, and hasn't been bad. So I think that's the guy you want to keep your eye on and see what the Orioles do with their catching situation. And then you're just kind of looking at the Arizona Fall League, and see what some guys doing. And Hanson's definitely a guy that we talked about that you have on your radar. And I think the A's, you always keep an eye on them. They have some good young pitchers down there in the minor leagues, and they go out and get Matt Holly, which no one. And they have a couple of pitchers down there that could have an impact, and a Trevor Cahill and Brent Anderson. So you're looking to see teams that are going to give the young players opportunity. So just doing a lot of research now, just seeing what guys do in the off season and where their roles fit. Again, as the spring training comes, then you start to get a better idea of what guys' roles are going to be and what their projections are for the 2009 season.
Now, I had an opportunity to talk to Matt Wieters, too, and those are all on video, and I'm hoping by next Wednesday we'll have that broken out into some audio. I had an opportunity to sit there and talk with him, as well as Austin Jackson of the New York Yankees, the #1 prospect according to Baseball America, which the new Baseball America just came out naming both of those guys the #1 prospects for their respective organizations. And I will tell you this, that Matt Wieters is a huge catcher. This guy's 6'5", and I'll be honest, I don't see him lasting at the catcher's position for too many years. I just think the beating is just going to really take a toll on him. And this is a guy I could see moving to the DH if he stays in the American League, or possibly to first base. But this guy has all the tools, has moved very quickly up the Baltimore Orioles organization through the minor league system. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Austin Jackson, because we had the opportunity to watch him play. I wanted in 3 games. And this is a guy that had some issues with the outside curveball. We've mentioned it on the show last week. And this was a kid that actually acknowledged the fact that he's having difficulties with the fact that he can't hit those outside pitches. What are your thoughts on Austin Jackson being there in New York? I know there's a lot of hype surrounding him. I know that he was a part of several possible trades during the 2008 season. But now we're starting to hear, Adam, that this is a guy that Yankee management is looking to possibly move along with Philip Hughes, 2 that were untouchable in this Yankee organization just a year ago.
Well, I hope that the opposing pitchers don't hear him say that too much, because if they do, they're going to give him a heavy dosage of what he can't hit. But I don't see Jackson having a major role for the Yankees this year, and, especially that they're talking about shopping. I just don't see it. The Yankees are coming off a season and get the postseason. So they are win it now mode. They are going to move to get a center fielder, because they are going into a new stadium. They're going to have a high payroll. I don't think they're going to go with Jackson in center field. I don't think he plays a major role at all for the Yankees this season. I'd be surprised. And, and like you said, some of these guys were untouchable before, but the Yankees are going to try and get someone who can help them win now. They don't want to go another season where they don't make the playoffs. And again, with the Red Sox in the division and the emerging Rays and the Blue Jays with potential, they're not going to waste their time with these young players. So in terms of fantasy, I don't think Jackson has an impact at all for the Yankees this year. I don't see him making the cut. But if he does get traded, that actually might be the best thing for him, because depending on the center fielder they acquire, it might be a while before he makes an impact in the Yankees outfield.
I had an opportunity to talk with Mark Healy, executive editor of Gotham Baseball Magazine, Adam, and he was mentioning that Orlando Hudson might be a good fit for the New York Yankees, with the possibility of trading Melky Cabrera. And, when you take a look at his team, it's going to need a center fielder. This is a team that's getting old. There's no question as far as there's no word right now on whether Jorge Posada is going to end up catching. No one knows really how well that arm feels until he actually gets out there and does it. Hideki Matsui's injured. What are your thoughts on what the Yankees may have to do? Because when you take a look at this team, this is an ever-growing age team. You know, we saw them relieve some money off the books, allowing Jason Giambi to walk. So maybe the possibility of bringing back Andy Pettitte, or maybe not. It's really going to depend on the market and where CC Sabathia ends up. But I'd like to get your take on what this New York Yankee team needs to do, because here's a team that's moving into $1 billion stadium in 2009. There's going to be huge expectations. Cashman gets the extension. Girardi in his second year. Where does this team really need to go right now?
I mean, they have a lot of question marks. I mean, that was the big thing when I was looking at this team midway through last year. That was the big thing I was looking at. The age on this team. I mean, you got a lot of older guys. Are they going to bring back Bobby Abreu to play right field? If they don't, there's another spot. Damon is still half years old. He's not the same player. You know, at center field, what are they going to do there? I mean, I just can't see them going with Brett Gardner to start the year in center field. I can't see it. I mean, it sounds like they're going to spend a lot of money on starting pitching. It looks like they're going to try and go really hard for CC Sabathia and maybe another big-time starter. It looks like they're going to try and build the nucleus of the team through their starting pitching, but they have to worry about the position players as well, because you know, the outfield, there's a lot of age there. Defensively, I mean, I'm not impressed with that group. You know, you still have A-Rod and midfield, and they might use Cano as a chip. I mean, Cano's attitude, I think, is a problem. I think he might have got a little bit complacent with his contract because he did not have a good year. I remember there was a game where he cost them against the Blue Jays with an error. The next day he was in the clubhouse, and he was just sitting there for about an hour and a half just shutting up. Now, again, you don't want to read too much into that. It was a Sunday afternoon game, but you would figure a guy who has struggled as much as he has this past year, that he'd be out there working a little bit harder, especially with the Yankees at that point, still with a glimmer of hope around Labor Day, for trying to fight for a postseason berth. And there's also speculation that, you know, he just pulls a little bit too much there in the clubhouse. So, you know, that's a guy, too, that they can move in. He's one of their few trading chips of a major league ready player that they can actually move and get something for now while the opportunity.
So let's stay with the Yankees, because you mentioned CC Sabathia and the potential of him ending up there at Yankee Land. You know, again, bringing back the fact of what Mark Healy was talking about on Live at Mickey Mantle's Friday night. He was discussing with me about, you know, here it is with the Players Association and the fact that, you know, the Players Association would be pretty upset that if CC Sabathia took less money to go to a team like the Milwaukee Brewers and left a ton of jack on the table that the Yankees might toss at him, how this might be a trickle-down effect for those mid-level type players. What are your thoughts on this possibility? Because if CC does take less money and stays with Milwaukee, there's the potential that Milwaukee may have to deal with Prince Fielder, who's up for salary arbitration. Where does this go? Because I think a lot of teams, in my opinion, are waiting to see what CC Sabathia does, because he's going to be the key to the free agent market this year.
I think he is, and again, with the way the economy is now, you know, some of these upper echelon players are going to get paid. It's the middle to the lower tier guys that might suffer. So, you know, I was shocked when I heard that they might trade Prince Fielder. And, you know, if they do sign for that, then they might have to. And, I mean, how are you supposed to build a team with a good young nucleus, even if you retain Sabathia, if you have to get rid of Fielder? So, you know, obviously Sabathia can have a big impact. It sounds like the Yankees are going to throw a ton of money at him, and they're going to give him such an offer that it's going to be hard for him to say no. And obviously with the Players Association and everything, it sounds like they're going to make it awfully hard for him to resist coming to the Yankees. They're just going to throw a ton of things his way.
Yeah, you know what? You make a great point there. And I will tell you this, myself and Lenny Melnick were at First Pitch Forum just a few weeks ago there in Arizona as well. And there was a panel that was discussing whether Prince Fielder was, you know, at the prime of his career right now. And several other people that were on the panel talked about, as a fantasy owner, getting rid of him right now, especially if you have him in a keeper league. They were talking about the possibility of, you know, his better years are already behind him. He's going to end up eating his way out of the league. Maybe it's a thing that maybe the Milwaukee Brewers and maybe, quote-unquote, some of these fantasy guys see something that maybe others don't, that this is maybe a time to dump a Prince Fielder instead of building around him. Because, you know, if you try to build around a guy like Prince Fielder, that's a lot of bricks.